Melissa Ford's here. I should have introduced.
Machine Gun Melly.
Hey.
The legend.
Oh.
Here's a question. How annoying is it for you when people are surprised by your intellect?
Oh.
When people become aware.
Like when people go, wow, you're really smart, as if you shouldn't be. Because I'm sure you get this all the time. Wow, you know big words. How can a girl with pretty face know big words?
Yeah.
So, and again, Schultz kind of goes right into it. And to give Melissa Ford some credit, she is an intelligent woman. And like I said, I was introduced to her before all of the stuff that she's, turned into now. But she is an intelligent woman, and she spends a lot of time, and this is what I noticed, she spends a lot of time of trying to convince society that she's not like the other video vixens. All of the video vixens say that, yeah, it was some women sleeping with the rappers, sleeping with them in videos, but I wasn't like that. And she shies away from that because she wants people to view her as different. And on this interview, the most recent interview with Charlamagne, she was talking about her legacy. And me and my homeboy was like, well, your legacy is kind of ingrained in a lot of dudes' minds as a video vixen. So that could be your legacy.
But your face is pretty and you say big words. That's so weird.
I've gotten used to it. I feel like a walking parody a lot of the time. I feel like I'm this,
like Little John was on Chappelle's show.
Yeah.
He used to be all wild. You thought he was wild, and he used to have an intellectual conversation.
But I feel like I am a parody simply because of the way that I'm shaped. Like, for a good example, I was in Providence, Rhode Island a couple of years ago at a charity event. It was cool for the day.
It's a day trip.
It was a day trip. So it was a wine tasting and a cocktail, and a dinner and cocktail hour, whatever, charity, whatever. And I'm dressed, I'm in a cute dress and whatnot. And these two guys that look like they were Night of the Roxbury rejects come over to me and they're like, "You're a basketball wife." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Yes, you are." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Well, then you're a real housewife of something." I was just like, what the fuck? I was just like, simply because I'm standing here, I'm short with a voluptuous body, like.
You see, she keeps saying it. I'm short with a voluptuous body. She's good.
That's what I am. That's what I am because that's the image that you've kind of.
Were they white?
Yeah, Night of the Roxbury rejects.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
They were insistent that that's what I was and that's what I did. I was just like, oh,
so what'd you tell them?
I said, all right, fine, I am. Okay, I am. I'm exactly what you fucking think. Go away now.
Now, you could have been. I'm sure you've been approached by athletes.
See, that's what, and again, I know all the stuff that's going on with Charlamagne and Andrew right now currently. However, back in the day, Andrew was wow. I mean, he was crazy. He would ask the tough questions, and Charlamagne would kind of play the good guy, so to speak, right? So, yeah, so I know you guys are like, oh, man, Andrew. But remember, this is like from 10 years ago. I think this was filmed in 2014 or 2015. So just keep that in mind, all right? Let's continue.
Here's a question. Here's a question. And I've had this theory about women. The more successful a woman gets, the harder dating becomes.
What that sound like? Ain't that something that the RP dude's been talking about for decades now? Seemed like decades, but that sounds like RP. So that's an example of people being RP aware, but not necessarily calling themselves RP. And that's why Red Pill will never go away, because it's being used in today's society on a day-to-day basis. So when he said that, we all understand that it may be true that a lot of women do have a tougher time dating when they're successful. And there's one main reason for that, and it's because of the standards that they place on themselves. It's not the dating market telling a successful woman that you're going to have a tough time. It's the successful woman saying that now that I have this money, a man needs to make at or above my income level. So if you are a woman who makes $1 million a year, and you say, I want a man who makes $1 million a year, guess what? You just shrunk your dating pool to like 1%. Okay? And then those men gotta want you. And then they gotta be faithful. And then you gotta want to get married to you. And then you probably expecting them to take care of all the bills, even though you making millions of dollars. So it's not essentially the dating market saying it's tough. It's the woman. She places those standards or preferences on herself. And also, women like Melissa Ford, she has an audience. So she can't, unfortunately for her, she can't just come to the dating market with some dude that's making $70,000, because you know what's going to happen? The sisterhood is going to judge her. And that's in her mind. Like, hey, if I do find a guy, he has to meet certain requirements. He needs to be tall. He needs to be this, and he needs to, do princess treatment with me because I have an audience. Kendra G is in the same boat. Okay. She makes a significant amount of money. She's like, hey, I want a man who makes this amount of money as well, because she has an audience. If Kendra G comes up there with an average guy, then the sisterhood will judge her. And there's only one woman in these spaces, and I actually did a video on her, and I told you guys that she met certain requirements where she can say that she doesn't have to date a $70,000 earner. You guys remember the video that I did, and you know the woman that I'm talking about? Sarah Fontenot. You know the little light-skinned girl that's always doing interviews with like Paul Pierce, Shaq, Cam Newton. You remember her? I recently did a video on her about two months ago. And during that time span, she ended up showing social media that she got engaged. And she showed her big ring, and she actually did a podcast with her now fiance. The dude is tall, and she made it a point to let her audience know that he's tall and he makes a lot of money and he takes care of me. So that fits the dynamic for her audience. So now the sisterhood is like, okay, she proved that she can get what she's asking for, because she said she didn't want to date a $70,000 man. Guess what? She got a man that make up more money than that. So she was able to do it. And the reason why she was able to do that is, for one, she's still in her mid 30s, I believe. She's in shape. She's attractive. Look like she work out. And she wears makeup, but she did one show where she took her makeup off and she still looked the same. And she has no kids. So that's why I was like, yeah, she won't have a problem, because, some dude gonna find her, and she's already in those circles. How the hell else you think she got interviews with Cam Newton and Shaq? These are multi-millionaire men. This woman, she doesn't even have, I don't even think she has 100,000 subscribers, but she was able to land interviews with those types of men because she was attractive. So she's in the circle. So she was able to do it. You guys can agree or disagree, but she has the proof, and I called it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. This one, I'm constantly crying. I will probably be crying on that shoulder and fucking up that t-shirt like I fucked up about 20 or 30
it's
of them.
Okay, Target will get his back.
This
is definitely a Target t-shirt. I want y'all to be very aware that this is a Target t-shirt.
It really is.
Yes, I love Target t-shirts.
All I do, I've made his ears bleed from my dating woes.
See?
Yes.
So here's my theory on it, right? And you correct me if I'm wrong. Is that, I would imagine a girl in entertainment, or any girl, wants to kind of date up, not in terms of finances.
Exactly what it is.
But it's like, I want to date.
You want to date something that's your equal.
Oh, at least you're equal.
At least you're equal.
Or higher. Or maybe more.
You see that? There it is. She put the standard on herself. That is hypergamy. So yes, it shouldn't be hard. In theory, shouldn't be hard for them to date. But it is, because they need a man to make at or above their income level. You see how that works? There it is. So they understand RP, ideologies, but they just get upset. And I know Melissa Ford gets upset when you hear dudes talking about women who are older. She doesn't like it because it's true. And we all understand you wouldn't be so bothered if you didn't think it was true. They're talking directly to you. So that's why she's upset now. So let's continue.
Successful or whatever it is, right? Not necessarily you have to, but maybe that's what you're more attracted to. You see somebody with ambition, and that person is at
You're
a
gonna
stage,
recognize that in yourself.
of course, right?
You know?
So not even like a money thing, like I care about money, but just like, wow, that guy's really great, and I want
somebody who's not gonna be paying attention to every single motherfucking thing I do all
'cause they're busy.
goddamn day.
They got shit.
Because if you ain't got nothing to do, if you ain't got no job, and you smoking on the corner with Craig, then
They always go to that. You see that? If you ain't got, I'm not going.
all you're gonna do is pay attention to what the fuck I'm doing all day and nitpicking and saying, well, if you were a real woman,
Then
you'd
you
be
would've
doing
did
this
that.
and you'd be doing
Gotcha.
that. And
See, shit's starting to come out now, ain't it?
I will cut your fucking dick off.
Yeah.
Leave me
Whoa. What are you talking about?
the fuck alone with all that shit.
On the flip side, though, you got certain girls who like that. Especially girls that are in certain positions, they like those guys because they feel like they can mold them or they can change
it's
them.
constant reassurance.
It's constant reassurance that he ain't gonna cheat on me.
He loves me.
I'm
He
the
loves
best.
me.
The best he can do.
But
Sorry, no. A constant complainer, that motherfucker's cheating.
okay,
constant
fair.
complainer.
A constant complainer,
possible.
he's gonna cheat. And then he's gonna
Explain this to me. Make me aware.
a constant complainer is going to cheat. Because he's starting off with a high level of insecurity. He's going to cheat,
Oh,
and then
gotcha.
he's going to justify it that you weren't fucking home taking care of his ass.
Gotcha.
All that shit can miss me.
So get
Been
so,
They be making up all these stories. Goodness.
there, done that. Got the T-shirt, got sweat stains in it. Gave it the fuck to Goodwill.
okay, good for you. You just gave a sweat stained T-shirt
I
to some
sure
poor
did.
kid.
His name was Alan.
Alan's
But it's funny. She said all of that about those types of men, but then she has an interaction, a relationship with this guy. She even said his name. So how did he get access if you got these high standards? Interesting. All right, let's continue.
sweaty cum stained T-shirt to some poor kid
Where
in
did
the
the cum
project
stains come from?
because he was fucking a girl. That's what she was just saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cheating.
gotcha.
All right. So here's the thing. So you're gonna date someone on your equal level or above, right? So now you're in entertainment. So you're dating guys that are in different facets of entertainment, maybe at different facets of banking, music, athletics, but people who are successful in it, have some real stature, right? I'm not saying you are, but a lot of girls might be. Now, if you're a girl, that's got to be tough because every guy that you date.
The same girl, a bunch of girls have the same idea about him.
Not
There's
even
nothing
that.
wrong with that.
Not even that is every guy that you date that's at that level. If he's single, has to have 3 or 4 girls he's already.
Yeah, that's
fucking.
what I mean. Is
Oh.
that
RP, right? She understand it. She just don't like it. Makes sense? There it is. Here we go.
okay, my
that's
bad.
what I mean. Is that every girl if you look at him and you say, "Oh yeah, he's a prize because he's got this."
Other girls are gonna say-
There's about 30, 40, 50 chicks thinking the exact same thing.
And he's probably fucking 3.
There it is. She just said the RP terminology or terms right there. She understand it. So yeah, she just don't like it.
3 or 4 of them.
Yes.
So now
Absolutely.
when you date him for the first month, as a successful woman like yourself, you just gotta stomach the fact that his balls are light because he fucked somebody the night before.
His balls are like.
But do you know what I mean? Like,
and what if he's a great guy, but as soon as you become aware that he's fucking all these other chicks, you don't want nothing to do with him.
but that's not true. You have to stomach it as a woman in your position. You have to stomach, okay, I understand he's successful and we're not boyfriend and girlfriend yet, so I can't put limitations on him. You know what I mean? But so you just gotta deal with that shit. That's gotta be I could never deal
You know
with
how I
that.
tell
But
my.
it works vice versa too.
I was
You
about
act
to
like
say,
girls
you know,
aren't doing that.
But I would never. I honestly feel, and I can't speak for you, but I honestly feel like women don't want 3 or 4 dudes that they're fucking.
They don't. No,
I just don't
At
feel
least
that
2.
way.
No,
I don't think they.
What y'all think? Things have changed. This is 10 years ago. Things have changed a lot because now I see women being a lot more vocal about just wanting to be friends with benefits. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that's I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that's changed or I think it's
Even
shame.
I think
Yes,
they
they
want
do.
one. And if they have two, they're not happy with either.
OG, I always tell you this, man. It was an OG chick told me that every woman got two men, one for money and one for dick.
I don't believe that.
I believe that.
And I don't believe she wants that. But let's ask a woman.
I think that she's brilliant. I do. And I think that you're absolutely right as well. For the most part, a woman has to have gone through so much bullshit that she becomes that woman.
That's a lie. Now that's a bold-faced lie. That's the narrative that they like to paint. The reason why a woman becomes promiscuous and she's trying to be like men and just have sex with men and send them off is because she's been through something. That's a lie. It's a lot of women that just like having sex. It's that simple. Cut and dry, easy to understand. So we got to stop this damn narrative that a woman goes through all this pain and then she becomes, numb to what's going on the dating market. So now she just see men as pleasure. Women do that every day, B. So yeah, it's a lie. Let's continue.
That's true.
Just because
this woman was married before, and she said you married one time for love.
Yeah.
She said the second time is for business, which is the money, and then you go get you some young dick on the side.
Yeah.
So she's went through so much fucked up shit. She said it's not possible to have everything I want.
Yes.
I'm gonna have.
Yes. But prior to becoming.
So do you think Melissa Ford is in that situation now? Because it's 10 years later. So she's saying, hey, man, I can't get what I want, but this is what I'm going to do right now. Wonder if she would ever admit that. That'll be interesting.
That woman, we still believe in the fucking fairy tales that we were force-fed as children, and we want Prince Charming, and we believe that Prince Charming is going to come along with a big bank account and a bigger dick. Yes, and he's just going to love me and me alone. The sun is going to rise and set on the crack of my ass. That's what we believe. No.
What's wrong with
There it is. And she's saying she understands it, but she's like, no, that's not going to happen. If you didn't know any better, if you didn't know who Melissa Ford was, you would think that she, understands RP, and she probably talks about that. But now she's a man hater, even though she understands it very well. Wonder if that's why I think it bothers her so much, because she does understand it. She just don't like it. It's interesting.
It's average shit though. Like, why a guy can't just have an average job, an average penis size?
I just got done dating average.
And
well, not average.
Done.
Dick.
You said done. Why is it over?
Because he's a fucking idiot.
Oh,
why?
Because he likes to play too many games, because he's insecure, and because he's obsessed with social media.
Is he?
But the funny thing is, if these dudes are so bad, how do they keep getting in her good graces, i.e. into her bedroom, in between her legs? How are women getting bamboozled by dudes who are trash? Maybe that's your level. If this is the second guy that she's mentioned that wasn't up to par, but for some odd reason he was able to sneak in. How is that? Goodness. Fair use.
Is he further than you in his career?
No.
See, that's the thing. You can't date. That's another thing.
I dated down.
Dating down.
Look, I dated down.
For a woman is also hard because we're already insecure because you're hotter than us, and you could get fucked by just walking down the street, right? Just walking outside, and you're not even in entertainment, you could get fucked by just walking outside, right?
Yeah.
So now we got to deal with that. Add on to the fact that the people trying to fuck are verified on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like,
that mark is everything, boo.
Those checks.
That verified vagina? Shit.
You talk a lot about our algorithms being very subjective. And we can create these algorithms, and sometimes there's stuff that just kind of gets funneled to us. But I will admit that my algorithm is very specific. There's a lot of cats and dogs in there, because for the, just I need the laughter, and I need just, the good heartfelt moments. There's a lot of travel, because I'm constantly thinking about where I want to go next and what part of the world, part of the globe I need to see. There's a lot of women empowerment stuff, but a lot of times when you do have the women empowerment part of your algorithm, a lot of the other side is going to filter itself in, and that's the gender war-y, masculinity versus femininity whole rhetoric and stuff like that. And it does start to, kind of have an effect on you. I guess it's not that I don't believe that there is a huge swath of the male population that is interested in growth and evolution and their mental health. I'd absolutely believe that. I think that the ones that aren't, I think that the Manosphere, Red Pill Nation podcast bros, I think that they are so much louder.
But that's the loud.
And that's the argument that a lot of these women always say, because she made it seem like it's only from one side, but they always fail to mention that there's a whole other side of women that are way more toxic than what you hear over in certain male spaces like this. Okay? It's still certain things that I don't forgive that came from that side. But the funny thing is, she agrees with those women. So she doesn't see that as toxic. But everything the men say, and she understands that it pertains to her, she doesn't like that. That's all she's saying. Okay? This is crazy. Let's continue.
Minority a lot of times.
And then when you see the comments, well, not only that, I mean, when you read cases like Giselle Pellicot, the woman in France, whose husband was basically renting out her body for about 10 years and drugging her in the process to where she didn't even know what was happening to her.
So I don't know why she pivoted to that when she was talking about RP and podcast bros. What does that have to do with anything? Is she trying to, I guess, create a bridge between that situation and, men who do podcasts? That's hopefully she's not trying to do that, because I remember that case. It was a bunch of white men that was doing that. I think it was in Europe or Germany, somewhere like that. Y'all remember that? Yeah, she's
her. And then this became this massive case in France, and 51 men saw some kind of level of prosecution, but it was
that was white men, and we all know white men are more prone to SAing women, according to the statistics. We know that. So white men represent 29% of the population, commit 77% of the SAs, grapes. Yeah. So just for her, if she ever sees this video, just for your awareness, you're not talking about black men. You're talking about white men. So let's just be clear on that. Okay? Don't try and put us in that foolery. Let's continue.
Up to 80 men that had participated in this, and they were doctors, lawyers, grandfathers, fathers, brothers. They were all, pillars of society and members of society, professional, et cetera, et cetera.
But they was buying pussy. The problem
they were not buying pussy. They were graping.
But wasn't he selling her? I thought he was her husband or something.
She was unconscious.
Oh,
he was drugging her and renting out her body.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, to white men. That was a white man that did that. Just let's clear that up.
That was wild. And so when you hear things about that, when you see the swath of men from all walks of life participating in something like that, when you hear about this group chat of 72,000 men.
Again, that was white men. Wonder why when it's black men, it's very specific. They never miss the chance to say black men. Why don't you just say, yeah, it was a bunch of white men that did this stuff?
Sharing pictures of their wives and girlfriends in an intimate manner and exchanging stories as to how to manipulate women and drug them and take advantage of them. And I mean,
listen, there's some.
I still don't know what that has to do with men and podcasts.
Men that you trust to bear more. What was that shit y'all was arguing about? The bear or the man? Whatever. There's some men
if you ran into a strange man or a bear in the woods, who would you choose? 98% of women chose the bear, and men lost their ever-loving minds.
I mean, because
men didn't lose their minds. No, women lost their minds because it's a stupid conversation. But I want to be clear once again. You were talking about white men because the narrative is, matter of fact, let's go ahead and listen to this real quick. Hold on. So let's be clear on what we're talking about here. Here we go. Fair use, fair use. If we extend the same selective logic to sexual offenses and crimes against minors, the trend remains the same. The most infamous and institutionally protected offenders in recent American history were overwhelmingly white and male. Larry Nassar, former USA gymnastics doctor, sentenced to effectively life in prison for sexually abusing hundreds of young athletes. Jerry Sandusky, former Penn State assistant coach, convicted in 2012 of serial child abuse spanning over a decade. Jeffrey Epstein, financier and convicted sexual predator, responsible for the trafficking and abuse of underage girls. Institutional scandals, Catholic clergy abuse investigations, and Boy Scouts of America lawsuits revealed decades of widespread sexual exploitation, often involving white male perpetrators in positions of authority. And according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, over 77% of federal defendants in child sexual exploitation cases were white men. Bureau of Justice Statistics confirms that most sexual assaults in the United States are intraracial, meaning white women are most often victimized by white men and black women are most often victimized by black men. So, if the fear is really about race and not about race, then statistically, the group most responsible for sexual violence in this country isn't black men, it's white men. And let me remind you guys, ladies, pay attention. About a year ago, a question went viral on social media. Would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a man? Thousands of women said they'd rather take their chances with the bear. At first, it sounded like a joke, a meme, until women began explaining why. Many said,
"At least the bear would just kill me. A man, he could do something far worse."
You know what those women were talking about? They were talking about sexual violence, about fearing the possibility of rape more than death itself. Now, that sentiment deserves empathy. It's rooted in trauma, not malice. But when the conversation is twisted online into a narrative about fearing black men in particular, that's when the data becomes essential, because the facts tell a different story. Even though we know that all men and the majority of men do not commit sexual assault, but that's still something to consider if women are telling you that they fear is worse than death. And when you look at the majority of the perpetrators, white men, I'm looking directly at you. So women, be mindful. You understand how white fatigue works now? I just wanted to remind y'all guys that I covered this before, because I see a lot of black women bringing this type of stuff up, about SA and grape, and not understanding that white men are the primary perpetrators for this. They, constitute the most arrests in that particular area, not just with women, with children as well. So when you have women like Melissa Ford, who tries to spin her narratives towards black men, and she's using all these conversations about the man and the bear, I want to be there to clear up some things, because on the balance of probabilities, it's going to be a white man that's going to do something crazy like that. Okay? And that's one thing that we rarely talk about. In white communities always focus on, this quote unquote black fatigue lie and shit like that. What about white fatigue? Shouldn't it be more women scared of white men to walk down a dark alley because they're the ones that's committing all of those essays and grapes? But you rarely hear that in today's modern society. But I always mention that when I see a white person trying to bring up something about the black community. Y'all got your own issues to worry about. Y'all got school shooters, all types of foolery going on there. The most infamous serial killers come from the white community. So when white people try to talk about the black community, you don't have a leg to stand on, because y'all got some depravity going on over there. Okay? Fix that shit first, and then we can start to have a conversation about the black community. All right? So let's get to it. Let's get back to the video. I don't like when women like Melissa Ford, black men and the guys in Europe. Nah, you ain't gonna do that. Let me get this up. I'm gonna let her finish a couple more things and we're gonna get her off. Here we go.
It is a very ridiculous thing. But I understand why women could feel that.
Here's the thing. If the bear kills me, that's fine. At least he didn't grape me.
Yeah, just like I said. Why don't you, who's responsible for the majority of the grapes? All right.
At least he didn't sexual assault me. At least he didn't violate my corpse.
But what if that guy is running from the bear too, and the guy's trying to? And
It's entirely possible, and this is, I want men to really truly understand why women have no choice but to be fearful. You have 4 daughters.
Absolutely.
I need to know what, and one of them, your oldest is, I believe, 16,
17.
17.
Come here, ask you a question. Have you had more positive experiences with men than negative?
She won't even be honest about that. That's an easy question. She's no. Sometimes I don't think women understand how safe you guys are. You know, based off of how the times used to be. Y'all are safe. And she's struggling with thinking, have I had more positive experiences with men than negative? If you've had more negative experiences with men, then something we need to start looking at you. Don't you think? Because that's kind of crazy. Let's go. Look at that.
That's an interesting question. I have had extraordinarily fulfilling and have fulfilling platonic relationships with men. Absolutely. So, I have had not the greatest personal romantic relationships with men.
So
where is the common denominator? First of all, if a man said that, y'all be like, well, you picked those women. Same thing for you, Melissa Ford. You picked those men. And the common denominator, the person that's been present in all of those failed relationships was who? You. So don't you think it's time to look within, right? God, dog, how can you? I don't know how people could go through life by just pointing the finger at everybody else when you've been present at all the foolery. Lord have mercy.
So based off that, you know that all men aren't terrible human beings.
I do know that. However, I will say this. You want to know one of the reasons why women watch all that murder, death, kill stuff, all the serial killer stuff? Because we're trying to understand what threat looks like. Because usually it's presented as somebody who's very, very normal. The BTK killer, Dennis Rader, he was a pillar of his community. He was a member of.
All right, that's enough of this. So yeah, so good luck to her. Hopefully she fine. You know, honestly, and I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way, but I really think she's more suited for a white man. Because I don't want any black men dealing with a woman like this at all. Because all of her past transgressions, all of her issues that she had in the past, she gonna blame it on that next black man. And you gonna feel the brunt of that. So I prefer that you go find somebody outside the race. Okay? Don't mess with black men, we'll be fine. Y'all seen the marriage statistics. Y'all see what we doing out here. Yeah, Melissa Ford, you can go. Okay. I mean, I'm sure you don't need my, my okay, but hey, it is what it is. I just don't want you dealing with black men because this is absolutely nuts. All right.